It's time for you to stop allowing your weight to hold you back. No longer allow your body to weigh you down. Let's elevate and embrace the woman that God has called you to be. All right, let's go. Welcome to the Overweighted Podcast, where we get real about the struggles of being obese and needing to lose a whole lot of weight. My name's Malaika. I'm your host, weight loss mentor and coach. Join me on my personal weight loss journey to lose about 200 pounds, and as I share my very real experiences, plus some simple, successful, and sustainable weight loss tips and mindset shifts so that we can mark lose weight off of our to-do list for good. So I have something that I want to announce, but I want to let you know how I got to this point. And so before I started my weight loss journey, I thought about my weight every single day. It didn't matter what situation I was in. It didn't matter what I was wearing, who I was around. I thought about my weight every single day. And especially when I was in groups of people, whether it was some of my thinner friends or it may have been some of my business partners, I couldn't help but notice that most of the time I would be the biggest person in the room. I remember even going to events, and whenever I would go, I would always try to make sure I had a chair that was at the end of the aisle, because I wanted to make sure I could kind of pull the chair over and have space around me, or so that I could scoot as far as I possibly could away from the person next to me. Because no matter what, when I sat down, like my thighs would spread, and if I was too close to the person next to me, I would end up rubbing thighs with them. And I just would feel like not only was I uncomfortable, but I was making that person uncomfortable. And, the thoughts that I was thinking that they were thinking is that, that they just were disgusted by that, or, whatever it was. And of course that was mostly in my head, but I just didn't want to have that situation where my body was touching their body when they didn't ask for it to touch their body. And so my weight was constantly on my mind. And I remember just feeling really stuck in my weight. I would try to lose weight over and over again. If you've heard any episode before, I've mentioned that before about being stuck in that cycle of losing weight and gaining it back. I had tried just about every diet I could, every program that I knew of or that I was able to try at the time. And yes, I would successfully lose weight, and I'm using air quotes around the word successfully, because if you lose the weight and then gain it back, well, that's not really successful, is it? And so I would lose the weight on those things, but a lot of times, well, all the time, I would end up gaining the weight back. And then of course I would gain even more, to where I ended up finding myself at the highest weight that I ever was before I started this last weight loss journey. And, I felt stuck in this weight because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't keep the weight off. And it was that I would lose the weight and then I would go back to the exact behaviors that I was doing before that led me to gain the weight in the first place. And here I was saying that, I really wanted to lose the weight. I wanted to do what I needed to lose the weight. I wanted to make the commitment to myself, and yet I would still find myself right back in those same habits and in those same behaviors that would cause me to gain the weight back. And then, like I said, and then some. And I got to a point where I just realized that I needed to do something different. And I realized also what it came down to is that it wasn't just about me changing my behaviors. I realized I had to change my beliefs, and I had to work on changing my thoughts. Because the things that we're thinking are really what is forming the beliefs that we have, and the things that we're saying to ourselves are forming the beliefs that we have. And so I had to change my beliefs about myself. I had to change my beliefs about who God was to me. I had to change my beliefs about what other people thought about me, and what I thought that their thoughts about me meant about me. right? And I had to change really my belief in all the things in order for me to get to a point where I was able to lose weight and then keep it off. And so through this journey and really this self-discovery journey, like I've mentioned before, at this point, I have lost over 80 pounds at this point in my weight loss journey. But God has really shifted me to not only focus on my own weight loss journey, but to help other women and help his daughters who have been struggling to lose weight over years. And so I don't just lose weight and focus on myself now. I actually get to help other women lose weight also. And, I was sitting with him at the end of last year in December and just really seeking him about what he wanted me to do, because I want to do what the Lord wants me to do, and I want to follow his footsteps. And so when I was seeking him for that plan, one of the things that he told me was that he wanted me to do an event in Greenville, South Carolina. And so I wanted to announce that Saturday, September 9th, I will be in Greenville, South Carolina with the Transformed You Intensive. It's a one-day workshop, and it is really about learning to release the baggage, learning to release those beliefs that don't serve us anymore, learning to release those negative thoughts and that negative inner voice in our head that leads us back to those behaviors and those patterns that we're trying to get out of, and learning how to form them into new thoughts and new beliefs so that we can move forward in our weight loss journeys and not stay stuck in our weight anymore. So you are going to be able to build those healthy habits and release those old habits that are keeping you stuck in your weight. And, when he told me about this event, I had never heard of Greenville, South Carolina before. I didn't even know it was a real place. So I didn't know anyone in Greenville, South Carolina. I had never been there before. And so God is sending me to Greenville, South Carolina for you. And so I hope you will meet me there. And really, you're not meeting me there. You're meeting him there, because he really wants to set his daughters free. And the theme for this event is elevation. It is time for elevation. God is calling you higher. And will you answer that call? Because we know it says in Isaiah 55:9, as the heavens are higher than the earth, my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. And so the Lord wants you to go higher with him, so that your weight no longer has to hold you back from becoming that woman that he's called you to be. And actually just from being that woman, because you already are her. But a lot of our beliefs that we have about ourselves, and that we have about others, that we have about food, and that we have about how we show up in the world, are really holding us back from being that person that God has called us to be. And so I want to see you in Greenville, South Carolina, Saturday, September 9th, and it is a one-day in-person workshop. You can find more information at transformedyouintensive.com. That's TRANSFORMEDUYOU intensive.com. Of course, the link will be in the show notes as well. All the information's there, and you can get registered there. I can't wait to see you Saturday, September 9th at the Transformed You Intensive in Greenville, South Carolina, and let's get ready for elevation. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you got any value out of this, or something really resonated with you, can you do me a favor and leave a review? It helps others find the show so that it could help them too. Also, I'd love to connect with you on other platforms. I'm Malaika Burley on IG and YouTube. And go grab my free workshop at malaikaburley.com. Of course, all of those links are in the show notes. Thanks again, and have a blessed day.